Hey, and thanks for joining us on this week's episode of For All Things Lexington, the only show dedicated to Lexington, South Carolina, and where a spade is always a spade. Here we'll talk to and about people, places, groups, things to do, and places to go in and around Lexington, South Carolina. I'm your host, Angela Barrett, and this is For All Things Lexington. Brought to you in part by GervaisStreetBridge.com, Columbia's most unforgettable free-to-list business directory. Hey, Richard, thanks for being here today. I have Richard Cutlark. See, yep. I knew I'd mutilate it. From Barrios Tacos, which is a new restaurant coming to Lexington in September, right?
Yes.
Yay.
Yep. Late summer, early fall.
Phenomenal. So tell us what Barrios Tacos is, because it's not your normal taco place from what I could see on a web.
No, it's not. We had our first restaurant in 2012 in a small suburb of Cleveland, about 10 years ago. And the concept is really what differentiates us from other taco restaurants are the fact that you can build your own taco, you can craft it the way that you like it. We do everything in-house. All of our food is made, fresh, was culinary designed. When you walk in, you can smell the flavors of the braised pork and short rib, and we carry a skirt steak, and it's just when you walk in, the atmosphere alone and the decor really sets us apart from other restaurants. Barrio means neighborhood. We like to be that location where people can come in and enjoy, great food and crafted drinks, but also they can enjoy the atmosphere and the artwork that's done in the restaurant. So I think that's kind of gives really an idea of what we're about.
And so I did on the website look and compared, some of the other locations, and it looks like one very unique, but not festive, but very fun, but sleek kind of
Yes.
atmosphere, very upscale for a taco place.
Yep.
And we are looking forward to that, I can assure you. We are extremely proud of our restaurants here in Lexington, and our main street just keeps getting better and better and better. And I hope you're ready, because we have high expectations when it comes to what's on Main Street, because everything is so good. And all of the owners are just phenomenal. So welcome, and we are very glad you're here, and we are looking forward to it. So how long have you been, you're the owner of the Lexington store?
Yes, yeah, I'm a franchisee of Lexington, and actually the franchisee of restaurants in South Carolina is my area.
Oh, okay. Oh, great. And now, have you had any affiliation with Barrio prior to this?
Yes, so about 4 years ago, coming right, I guess during COVID, I left a country club position as a director of food and beverage for a country club in Ohio, and found Barrio, and was able to get in with them and start out as a general manager. And start out slow again. It was a rough time for everybody in restaurants, and some people say it was kind of a step back from my higher positions of director of operations for other companies, but you did what you had to do back then.
Sure.
So I got in with Barrio and quickly, moved up the ranks and became a director for them and ran multiple locations, and eventually took advantage of a program that they have. It's called a legacy program, and it lets owners become, get their own restaurants, and they support that. So the company is very tightly knit with family, and they offered me that opportunity, and I took advantage of it. and I picked South Carolina because I wanted to be somewhere warmer than Ohio, and I
You
wanted
just
to
didn't
pick
know
somewhere
how
where,
warm we were going to be.
yeah, well, yeah, I I didn't say hot, I said warmer, and that was my big mistake. So
Right.
um, but I wanted to go somewhere where I could be part of the community, and when I started visiting locations through South Carolina, Lexington just stood out to me as like the
Yeah.
place we had to be. And luckily we got into a great building on Main Street, and
Right.
um, feel it's going to be a home run.
Yeah. And for those of you who have not or don't know where this is going to be, it is 105 West Main Street,
Hmm.
which is really going to be between Aladia's and Bubba's Biscuits, for those that are familiar with Main Street on
Right,
Lexington.
right.
um, now, when you came here, um, who was the first person, I guess, that you talked to about occupying that space, and how did all that work?
Well, I
Because it
was
wasn't
with
even built yet.
no, it
Yeah.
was still dirt. And we had looked at several buildings. We looked in Columbia. We looked um, all over. I work with Colliers and Rox Pollard, um, and John Grissett
Hmm.
were a couple brokers that I contacted just over the phone.
Right.
And as we started looking, I started to get more in depth and looking on my own also, and I came across the building um, um, that was there on Main Street. Robbie was the owner of the building,
Hmm.
and um, it just I looked at him like
Yeah,
this can't be
that is
true.
a
I mean, it's
perfect
yes,
location.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
Now, parking's a little tricky right there, but I mean, you've got all of Main Street and
mhm,
all of that in the back, and I mean, people park and walk. I mean,
yeah,
that's the beauty of it. And as pretty as Main Street is now,
yeah,
it's not a bad walk. It's
right.
pouring down rain.
Most of our locations are second generation buildings. They're as
More
we
warehouse looking.
yeah,
Yeah.
as we built our restaurants, we have several right in downtown Cleveland. We have some that are across the street from the stadiums. Um, but as we started to grow, we started to get into higher end real estate. This is the first building that we're going to do that is going to be
I can't
first
wait to see
generation,
it. Yeah.
where it was designed especially for Barrio.
Yeah. I can't wait to see it because I mean, just based on the other pictures that I saw on the website, it's going to be pretty slick.
Yeah, the our theme is Dia los Muertos. It's the Mexican Day of the Dead, but it's a celebration of life.
Right.
And the walls are all hand painted by an artist. So a muralist will come in and paint the entire square footage of the restaurant, ceilings, walls. It does have that warehouse feel,
Hmm.
but that's what makes us unique. Also,
Right.
is the atmosphere. Um, when people dine in, it's not just they're not just looking at the table and looking at their phones. They've got their phones out and they're taking pictures, and they're enjoying the music and the food. So that creates value for people.
Sure.
Value is not just what you pay for your
Yeah.
food, but it's also
The
how you
atmosphere.
feel when in a restaurant. And
Right. The atmosphere is a lot.
yes,
So now these artists that come in, are these artists that do all of Barrio, or you're using local artists, or how does that work?
so typically we've used one artist, but as we've started to grow, we've been able to um, go out and search for other artists. In my situation, we are using my brother,
Oh,
who is an artist. And again, as we talk about family and how we've done things, my
sure.
cousin Bruce owns his own architect firm in Dallas. He designed the building for me.
Oh, good.
Um, my wife will be part of the HR team. My son will be working with me as my assistant manager.
Nice.
My daughter does marketing because she works for Baylor. So, we're truly going to be a family run restaurant.
Right.
So anything that we can do to get,
You'll fit right in
yes,
Lexington.
exactly. Um, but he will be doing the artwork for the building.
Oh, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, what about like your chefs? And so you have your assistant manager
hmm
already down pat. But what about like your chefs and all that? Is that somebody that's already studied and cooked and knows this menu and the recipes
hmm
from Barrio? You'll bring somebody from another location, or
Yeah. Being that I've worked for the company for 4 years, I've been part of recipe building and menu design in for the last 30 years. So I bring a lot of that to the company also.
Mhm.
But I've hired an executive chef from Fort Jackson, and I've hired a sous chef from the Hilton in Columbia.
Oh,
So
nice.
we've already staffed up on our chefs, and then I'll be training them on recipe design and how we braise our meats and um, sauces and salsas and everything that goes into that.
Right. Now, what about? So, tell me how you, because this is you build your own taco. That's
hmm
the whole premise. So, how does that work? You have a list of.
And so we have menu pads on the table. So when you walk into the restaurant, you can grab a menu pad, and if you like to build your own taco, there's a pad for building your own taco, and it has 5 to 6 different shells that we can create for you, and then it has all the proteins. It has vegan options, so you can go vegan, you can go all vegetarian. Um, 5 different salsas and toppings, and then on the bottom we have 7 different unique sauces that we create for to top your taco. So if you wanted to come in and you wanted to get a taco, loaded with items, to make a half-pound taco, you can. But if you're an originalist
Sounds like
and
something my
you
husband
like to
might do.
stick with ground beef and lettuce and tomato and cheddar, you can build it that way. If you're not so adventurous, we have an LFA menu that we kind of design where we think the flavors flow the best.
Huh,
And then you can just check off on that taco. So if you're not, you're like, well, I'm not sure how those are going to taste,
right.
I'll get one, of the LFA menu tacos.
So now, what's your favorite creation? What's your go-to when you build your taco?
So I'm like a basic guy. I'll stick with the sirloin, lettuce, tomato, pico sauce, and cheddar cheese, but loaded with sour cream.
Ah,
So, but I mean, when you're working in the kitchen, our pulled pork is absolutely the best. And so is our skirt steak. It's marinated in Coca-Cola and ginger,
wow.
and it's very good.
Huh, sounds
Um,
good.
so I like to do bowls also. So if I'm really not into taco, I'll just go with some of our cilantro lime rice and mix up some different meats and just go with the basic pico or pineapple salsa.
That sounds good. So, here's what I want to talk about. Imagine this. I want to know about all these specialty drinks that
Oh,
y'all
sure, yeah,
have.
yeah.
So I
So
understand that you have a vast selection of like your tequilas, which I love, your whiskeys and beer. Now, is the beer both domestic and craft?
we do both.
Okay,
So um, we really stick to a lot of Mexican beers. So the Coronas, Corona Lights, Modelo's.
sure.
We'll carry the Secchi's on draft. Um, we go with Pacifico, High Lie.
Hmm.
Um, we'll go with some local drafts. We'll probably not carry many drafts because we're going to have 100 bottles of tequila varieties on the
Yes.
wall. Yes, and we'll have we don't really carry any lower end tequilas. We start out mid range and we go very high. So um, if you want a shot of Herradura Supremo, at $100 a shot, we
Sure.
can accommodate you. Um, and if you want a flight of different shots, we can do flights.
Ooh, yum.
And but if you want a very good tequila like an Avion, we'll take care of you there. Best thing about what we do, if you're really interested in learning about tequila, we train our staff to have a wide knowledge of what they're selling. So if you want to know what a repo is, if you want to know what a blanco is, our servers will be able to talk you through the different varieties, um, and talk you through the different tastes. And they're half off during happy hour.
Oh, nice.
So we do tequila half off, Monday through Friday, and margaritas half off, and pitchers of margaritas for $15. So happy hour will
That
be a
could be
very strong time
dangerous.
for us. Yes, yes, it sure will be. Yeah,
Uber, everybody Uber.
that's right.
But do you also have like other kind of specialty drinks as well that I saw?
Yeah, they're handcrafted. So we do some tequilas that are infused. So we'll infuse tequila. So our bartenders will make recipes, and they'll chop up fresh pineapple, and we'll soak it for 3 days in our Avion. So we'll make a skinny pineapple with pineapple Avion. Very, very
I
good
may
drink.
never leave.
Yeah. We do a bullet rye that is soaked with dark cherries and orange peel, and then we'll do a whiskey lemonade, blackberry lemonade with that mixture.
Wow.
So yeah, we have everything on our menu is a cocktail design, and then we always do a drink of the month, depending on like what time of month it is, and what's in season, what kind of fresh berries are in season. But we always try to stick to a tequila for a drink of the month.
Um, and I saw, I believe, now are you where y'all will do catering? Probably not in the very beginning, I would imagine.
Yeah.
But so you will be able to cater. So like if somebody has a small party or a large party for that matter.
Yes. Yeah.
So
we will cater. We've catered groups up to 200. We have food trucks in Cleveland, and eventually we'll get into a food truck where we take our food trucks to events. It's really the best way to cater an event is to park your
and
truck
so
there.
you will have a food truck as well?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Eventually, we won't start out with one, but
Sure.
we'd like to get one by the following year.
Oh yeah, that'd be nice.
But that is in our design of what we do with Barrio.
And so, what is your best-selling item? I know you haven't opened here, but in the history, I guess, of Barrio, what's the best-selling item?
Um, it's definitely going to be our house margarita and our house pitchers.
Gotcha.
What what makes our drink so good is we use real fruit purees. So we don't use like your sugary syrup type purees that you get in a bottle. These are fruit purees that come in frozen, and then we thaw them, and it's pure fruit. So that's what makes the drink so good.
Yeah, sounds
And
good.
differentiates from a lot of other places that will use a strawberry syrup.
Right.
And it's what makes our non-alcoholic drinks so good because if your kids come in and love lemonade, you can do blackberry lemonade, mango, peach, white peach, strawberry. You can make any flavor of lemonade that you want. So not only will we cater to the drinking crowd, but we cater to families also.
Sure. And I saw you were going to tell me what your hours are, first of all, hours and days of the week.
Okay. So we're going to start our opening at 3:00. And we'll close at 11:00. On the weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we open at 11:00 and we'll close at midnight. One thing we didn't touch on is we do a brunch menu.
I was getting ready to ask.
Yeah. So
I love brunch.
Saturday and Sunday, we have a totally different menu for brunch, but we also do our other menu also. So we'll just double up. So you could get a steak and egg taco with an over easy egg.
Oh wow.
We do a poached egg on with prosciutto, and we top it with like a demi glaze, like a hollandaise demi glaze. But it's a very good taco.
Sounds good. Yeah, I love brunch. I was going to add that's where I was leading with the times because I did see it on there. But so it'll be both Saturday and Sunday. Well, that'll be nice because around here you can find some Sunday brunches, but you never hardly, especially in Lexington, find a Saturday brunch. And so that'll be great.
Yeah, most people don't in Mexican restaurants you don't see a brunch like what we'll offer, and most people don't think of a brunch on a taco, but it's pretty good.
Yeah.
We were voted as one of the top 10 taco restaurants in the country.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons was value, because we're not an expensive place to go. Your tacos are under $4, and part of what we do, we're voted as like a cheap eat,
Right.
and it's so expensive to eat
But
out now.
with an atmosphere that's
Yes,
doesn't look that way.
right.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Um, how many? So, Barrio is a franchise.
Mhm.
How many locations are there?
Lexington will be number 20.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And when did Barrio first start, and how did it start?
So it started in 2012,
Uh-huh.
and it started by a gentleman named Tom Lenahan, who owned a bunch of property in an area in Cleveland that's kind of like up and coming. It was you know kind of old and run down. It's an old neighborhood, 100 years old. Um, but they started building these unique little corner type neighborhood bars and restaurants. And if you're familiar with the Iron Chef from TV,
Yes.
he opened up a restaurant there called Fahrenheit, and he was really kind of the staple of the area, where you could go in, and then um, before you know it, we started seeing all these little restaurants, and then Barrio popped up. Um, did so well that they opened the second restaurant in a year, and then they just kept going. Every year they started another restaurant.
And so it did start in Cleveland.
Yes, yes,
Nice.
yep,
Now, you and your wife and your son Brady, who's going to be your assistant manager,
yes,
y'all have just moved to Lexington, right?
yes, yeah. The last month we moved into Lexington.
And other than it being really hot,
Mhm.
like the area,
Love it,
love it.
love it. Yes,
Good.
we plan on staying here, of course.
Yes.
We plan on opening more restaurants, and we actually bought a piece of property on the other side of the lake in Prosperity in Stewart Landing. So
Oh,
um, eventually we'll get in there and you know be able to enjoy the lake.
well, I was going to ask. So you haven't been here, I guess, for about a month. But what all have y'all gotten to experience? I know you're trying to open a restaurant, so
Yeah.
maybe not much. But have you been out on Lake Murray?
Yeah, so we met some great friends over on the other side of the lake, and near the development that we're at, and they're kind enough to take us out on a boat ride for the very first time on Lake Murray. We're boaters in Cleveland. Um, we had a big boat on the lake,
Sure.
much different than Lake Murray. It's a lot rougher, but
Yeah.
it took us out, and it was during the fireworks festival
Oh, 4th of
over the
July.
dam. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
it was amazing being out on the lake at night and seeing all the boats out there.
right.
Um,
It's like a
it
highway.
felt safe. I mean,
Yeah.
um, much different than Cleveland, because the waters are so rough, and you can't really get out at night because it's so hard to navigate. But yeah, we really enjoyed that.
And so, have you had the opportunity to try some of the restaurants that are already here?
Yeah, so I've gotten to go to O'Hara's, and then across the street at Keg Cowboy, and
Mm-hmm.
the little bakery that O'Hara's runs.
Right.
Um, I've been to every local place, and I've met the managers there, and
Yeah.
you know, um, starting to work on getting to meet the owners.
Yeah.
And I know they're very excited about coming in there. Most people are scared when new restaurants come in because they think it's going to take away business, but it really brings more business into the area.
Right.
The more things to do in Lexington,
Right.
the more people will come in and visit. So we're excited about that.
Yeah. Now, what did your wife say when, honey, we're moving to South Carolina?
She was really nervous. So she's a school teacher,
Mhm.
and she had 33 and a quarter years in,
Ooh.
and she could have retired at 35. And at first she was like thinking that we're going to separate, and I was going to live here, she was going to live there, and I guess really not separate, but
Yeah.
kind of the
Separate
long
living
distance
for a little while.
marriages.
Yeah.
And I was like, no way. I'm like, you're going to retire early.
Yeah.
And so she retired early from her job, and now she has a new role, and she'll be the HR director for what we do, because we like to take care of our employees, and I think it's important to have that liaison for the employees and someone that can bring them in and orientate them and be there for their,
Sure.
for concerns. And right now, I mean, employees can go anywhere and work, and if you don't treat them the right way, you're
Right.
they're not going to stay with you.
Yeah, and no doubt about it. And being a school teacher, I would imagine some of that, although it's different age group, sometimes
Yeah.
employees can sometimes act like kids in school. But that would be probably a pretty easy transition, other than maybe working side by side with you. I don't know if,
Yeah.
let's see how that goes,
Yeah,
right?
we did that. We actually did that right out of high school. So my parents owned a pizza place, and it's really got me into food service.
Sure.
At 12 years old, I was 12 years and making pizzas.
Right.
And I met my wife at 17 years old. And when I graduated, my mother says, "We don't really want the pizza place, so it's yours." And so I started working it, and my wife Tina started working with me. And she's definitely not the kitchen type person to work in a restaurant, but
Right.
she'll do very well with people.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah.
We'll know our limits together.
Sure.
Yeah, right.
Well, I cannot tell you how excited we are for you and your family to be here, but also about the restaurant. We just welcome you, and thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to talk about it.
Yeah,
It's been
absolutely.
great.
Thanks for hanging out with us today, and we hope you enjoyed the show. If you'd like to be a guest on the show or have a person, business, idea, an event that Lexington needs to know more about, email me, local@forallthingslexington.com. That's the number 4, y'all.
This episode was brought to you by the real estate agents at Home Matters, building on service, relationships, and on what matters to you. Find out how you matter and how they can help you with buying and selling your home at homematterssc.com.